She glanced sideways and saw a blood stain on the sheet, glaring and mocking her. Layla felt a pang in her heart. The memories of last night suddenly flooded back. My boyfriend was gone, and I had given my first time to a stranger. Her heart ached as she rubbed her temples. Taking a deep breath, she knew regret wouldn't change anything. She could only swallow her tears. The sound of water stopped, and a tall man emerged from the bathroom. With a chiseled body and 8-pack abs glistening with water, he looked incredibly sexy. Layla shivered as she met his gaze. His features were sharp and defined, but his eyes were cold like a frozen lake. She had never seen such cold eyes, reminding her of a beast's gaze. Layla suppressed her panic and looked back at him. Although he had a strong presence, she was the client and deserved respect. Name a price, the man said coldly. Was he asking me to pay based on his service quality? Layla, puzzled, took out $500 in cash from her wallet and handed it to him. Samuel Holland frowned as he stared at her young, innocent face with big eyes like a doll's. He had asked her to name a price, and she gave him money instead. Did she think he was a sex worker? Such imagination for someone so young. Seeing him still deep in thought and not taking the money, Layla assumed he found it a bit stingy. She didn't know the rates for sex workers, but judging by his looks and physique, he should be quite popular. Layla remarked, I only have this much cash. Give me your card number later, and I'll transfer you $700. Samuel raised an eyebrow, his already cold face making the room even chillier. Is he worried I won't pay later? She thought. Layla, feeling cornered, said, Your service last night wasn't great. It hurt a lot. I'm only giving you this much because you tried hard. Though she said this, she was actually very nervous, afraid he would extort her. Wrapping herself in the sheet, Layla bent down to pick up her clothes, but in her nervousness, she tripped over a chair. The sheet was pulled away, leaving her completely exposed. Samuel's cold eyes deepened. Her smooth, flawless skin glowed, with her delicate, slender neck leading to soft, rounded shoulders. Layla blushed furiously and quickly grabbed the sheet to cover herself. She ordered, Don't look. Samuel sneered. I already saw everything last night. She shouted, Jerk, is this your attitude after getting paid? I'll definitely complain about you next time. Will there be a next time? Samuel raised an eyebrow. In your dreams, Layla fled to the bathroom to change. Her skirt was torn, and she was in a lot of pain. In movies, sex workers were always gentle and polite. Why was this guy not only rude but also rough last night? Her first sexual experience was so painful that Layla felt a lump in her throat. The plot of a novel had happened to her. After catching her boyfriend of 4 years in bed with her best friend, she went to a bar to drink and ended up in a place like that, leading to last night's events. Punishing herself for someone else's mistake, she felt foolish. Layla splashed her face with water and forced a smile at her reflection in the mirror and then walked out of the bathroom. Samuel was already dressed, looking dapper in a suit. He was smoking a cigarette, exuding mature charm. Layla's heart skipped a beat. She had good reason to be attracted to him last night. After all, who wouldn't like a handsome, charismatic sex worker? Layla said, I've paid you. If we meet again, let's act like strangers. With that, Layla left the room, closing the door behind her. Samuel smirked, his eyes thoughtful. What an audacious girl. She looks innocent, but she's trying to ditch me after sleeping with me. Can I help you with anything? A stern-faced pharmacist approached Layla. I need to buy birth control pills. Layla's face turned red as she whispered. The pharmacist handed her the pills. Thank you. Layla paid and rushed out, immediately opening the box and swallowing a pill dry. It is so bitter. Do they always taste like this? Layla thought. Inside the pharmacy, the pharmacist took off his medical uniform, revealing a suit underneath. He took out his phone and replied, Mr. Holland, she has taken the pill. On the top floor of the hotel, Samuel gazed out the window, smoking a cigarette, his eyes inscrutable. He thought, Vitamin B isn't too bad, right? After taking the pill, Layla caught a bus back to school. She had a part-time job as a teaching assistant in the afternoon. At the school gate, she felt a heavy heart. Yesterday, right at this gate, her boyfriend Vincent Siven's mother had found her. In the Mercedes, Vincent's aristocratic mother looked at her with disdain. She said, Take $1 million and leave my son. She then added, Do you think you're a good match for Vincent? Don't dream of marrying into the Siven family. Vincent is just playing with you. When he dumps you, you won't get a penny. Layla foolishly pleaded with her, insisting Vincent was sincere. However, that very night, she caught Vincent and Amelia Brown having sex in the dorm. Layla had angrily thrown a bucket of water on them before fleeing. A panicked Vincent looked utterly pathetic. By the time he realized and ran downstairs, Layla had gone. Snapping out of her memories, Layla saw Vincent, who hadn't slept all night, his eyes bloodshot and far from his usual self. He rushed over and grabbed her shoulders, anxiously saying, Layla, I'll explain. Let go of me. Layla felt disgusted. Those hands had touched Amelia. She continued, Vincent, if you don't let go, I'll let everyone in school know about your dirty secret. Although Vincent finally let go, he blocked her path, refusing to let her leave. Vincent pleaded, Layla, forgive my moment of weakness. Was it a moment of weakness? Was it the first time you and Amelia had sex? Is it always a moment of weakness? Layla questioned. Vincent hurriedly defended himself. I made a mistake all men make, but I love you. Enough! You're shameless. Don't make all men bear the consequences of your actions. You're no different from an animal in heat, Layla shouted. Go back and tell your mother to take a good look at you. She'll see you're not worthy of me. She pushed Vincent forcefully to the ground. Layla, please don't hit Vincent. Amelia rushed out, crying, and pushed Layla away, standing in front of Vincent. I like Vincent. It's all my fault. Hit me instead. Amelia remarked, I'm sorry, but Vincent is a normal man. You refused to make love to him, so he accepted me. You can't blame him. Layla was so enraged by this absurd logic that she laughed. Layla thought, well, you can't pull off something shameless without being shameless yourself. Nice try at justifying yourself. Layla questioned. So, as my dear friend, you had sex with him for me. Do you enjoy ruining other people's relationships? Should I wish you a speedy marriage to the Sivan family? Unfortunately, your wish is destined to remain unfulfilled. She then added, if Vincent can cheat once, he can cheat a second and third time. I hope you can still defend him when other women come knocking. A flash of hatred crossed Amelia's eyes, but she continued to cry pitifully. She retorted, while you're blaming Vincent, have you looked at the kiss mark on your neck? Were you with another man last night? Layla, Vincent's bloodshot eyes stared at her neck, his face pale as he shouted, what's going on? He had waited for years, faced countless rejections, and now she had slept with another man. Layla retorted, I'm single. Who are you to question me? So, you're a loose woman. I misjudged you. Vincent stormed off in anger. Amelia wiped away her tears, looking at Layla with contempt, and said, were you happy with the service last night? Layla suddenly looked up, realizing she had been set up by Amelia, and clenched her fists. Meanwhile, in the president's office of the Holland Group, Assistant James Vandella reported, Mr. Samuel Holland, the person who drugged your drink last night, was indeed sent by Mr. Jovan Holland, aiming to ruin your reputation. Samuel's eyes turned cold as he stubbed out his cigarette. It was time to settle the score between them. Samuel asked, have you found out about the woman from last night? Yes. Her name is Layla Adkins, a 21-year-old ordinary college student. She has good grades and is a well-behaved girl. She went to the bar because she found out her boyfriend was cheating. And James hesitated. Go on, Samuel ordered. James replied, her boyfriend is Mr. Sivan. Samuel remarked, keep an eye on her. Samuel revealed a meaningful smile. So, the little girl was his useless nephew's girlfriend. Things were getting more interesting. The more his father pushed for his marriage to the Eilish family, the more he resisted. That night, at Scarlet Bar, Layla, dressed in a bunny costume, walked around serving drinks. The music was deafening, and colorful lights danced in the air. Beautiful dancers were giving it their all on the pole. That morning, Layla had sworn never to set foot in a bar again, but by evening, the $200 an hour gig was too tempting to pass up. The neckline of the outfit was too low, and Layla tugged at it a few times. People in the bar occasionally harassed her, and Layla carefully dealt with them. The manager handed her a bottle of blue liquor encrusted with diamonds. He ordered, be careful. This bottle is worth $1 million. Layla thought, $1 million. Is there really such an expensive drink? She quickly and carefully cradled it in her arms. The manager instructed, table 2. Hurry up and deliver it. 2 very handsome men were sitting in the booth, both dressed in expensive attire, especially the one on the right, who looked like a cold emperor. Layla was stunned. It was him, the sex worker from that morning. Layla took a deep breath, feeling a chill down her spine. She wondered, why is he here? Are the 2 in the booth colleagues? A sex worker making money and coming to a nightclub to find girls for fun. What kind of society is this? Layla hesitated. Manager, maybe someone else could do this? Hurry up. Don't keep the guests waiting. The manager pushed her before she could finish. Layla had no choice but to go over, hoping the dim lighting and her mask would keep him from recognizing her. I heard someone saw you at the hotel last night. Your brother is really going all out to kick you out of the Holland family, said Joseph Sheeran, who had strikingly colored hair and was holding a beautiful woman. I'll make him understand what it means to dig his own grave. Samuel sneered. Sir, your drink, Layla said softly, kneeling to open the bottle for them. A familiar, faint scent of a young girl wafted into Samuel's nose. He glanced at the little bunny crouching on the ground. Her figure seemed familiar. Layla's hand slipped as she nervously opened the bottle, and it almost fell, but a hand swiftly caught it. Layla's back broke out in a cold sweat. Luckily, it didn't break. Otherwise, she couldn't afford to pay for it, even if she gave up everything she had. She looked up to express her gratitude, but when she met a pair of cold eyes, she quickly lowered her head in fear. Layla thought, did he recognize me? With a glance, Samuel felt those eyes were familiar. Her eyes were a clear amber hue, with long lashes. She was easily startled. You're so slow at opening a bottle. Do you even know how? Joseph deliberately scared her. Right away, Layla gritted her teeth and finally pulled the cork out after a long effort. Layla exhaled nervously, her red lips parting, revealing their unique shape with plump pink peaks. Samuel stared at her red lips, remembering the sweet kiss from last night. It was her, Layla, Samuel thought. What a coincidence to meet her here. Miss, if you're this nervous opening a bottle, wouldn't you be scared to death serving Mr. Holland in bed? Joseph smirked. What are you talking about? Layla pouted, her ears turning red. Samuel suddenly grabbed her chin and stared coldly into her eyes. He asked, have we met before? Did he recognize me? Layla's hand shook in fear, spilling the drink all over Samuel's crotch. I'm sorry. She hurriedly grabbed a napkin to wipe his pants. Seeing her panic, Samuel mercifully decided not to expose her. The soft, weak complaints from last night echoed in his ears, making him feel hot all over. As Layla wiped, she noticed something odd. Layla thought, why was his crotch